Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today on my craft. I'm going to be showing you how I've made this lovely card. All I've done at the end of the video is add some extra little orbs on these. These are the glitter Posca pens and a little bit of glitter glue and stickles just to finish the card off. So thank you for watching, and here we go. So I'm starting this card with a little bit of multifarious in the white. It's 19.5 centimetres, which is basically 7 3/4, because I really want to mount this onto a 8-inch card. What I need to do first is to get some colour down. I'm just going to give it a bit of a dust, get rid of any fingerprints. I've got various different shades of purples and pinks and blues, so I'm not sure what I'm going to use yet. Violet chalk, wilted violet oxide, Della blue, kitsch flamingo in oxide, tumbled glass again in oxide, Bermuda, and a bit of dark denim. So I'm going to start to get some colour down, sort of within that range, and see what we can come up with. So I'm going to be using Zemira and Faith for this one, and I thought I would have a Zemira pass a little orb, a glowing orb, to Faith. So I'm just going to place them down here, because what I want to do is do the little orb, and I'm going to mask it off with some fluid. I'll just check what size. Probably that size. So I'm just going to remove Zemira and Faith and gently do a little very light pencil mark in there. And I'm going to mask this with some masking fluid. I have to say mine's quite old, it's masking fluid. I've had it for eons, so it's a bit, I don't think it's as liquid as it should be, but probably going to do the job. Let me just go round and round there. It's starting to dry. Right, that'll do. So I'm just going to let that dry off completely before I do the next little phase. So now my little moon in the middle is dry fluid. I'm just going to do a little bit around this circle here. I've put a mask down, not because I want a massive moon, but I just want to keep this centre really pale, and so it doesn't have to be exact, just a very brief outline around here, look. Just so that some sort of guideline, because knowing me, I will go in a bit heavy-handed. Then it's a matter of getting some ink on. So I've picked up another couple of inks as well. Some Memento, which is another dye ink. That's Angel Pink, and that's Lulu Lavender. So it's a matter of what do I want to put in the middle there. These are pretty much the muchness. I will go with this one. Let's grab my little brush. And before I go in, I'm just going to check. That's not too dark. Yeah, that's fine. Can always add more, but we can't take it away. I'm just going to come around the edge of this, like so. Because what my idea is to come out darker as I go further out around the edges of the card. So as you can see, it's just adding the tiniest little hint of colour in there, just to get that going. And then I think I'll have a little tiny bit of blue, my oxide. So my oxides, I always keep separate brushes, eggs, etc. for all of these things. Different types of ink. So I'm going to come in with that tiny little bit of blue. Again, I'm just going to check. See, that's quite dark. So I'm going to take a bit of that off. And then just around the edge again, maybe a teensy tiny bit in the middle. that's enough of that. And then I think I'll go with a bit of the Kitsch Flamingo. Again, that's an oxide, so I need something to use my Oxide Inks. Oh, that is very bright. Just pop that in a bit closer so you can see where I'm at with it. Yeah, let's take a fair bit of that off. And just gently come on round. With that. Then what colour do I think I'm going to go with? I might try some Della Blue. So that's Elements. Let me come in with my little Elements brush. Again, that's a dye ink, isn't it? So we can just go with these. Sorry, not in shot again. As you can see, I'm just cleaning the brush, really. And taking a fair bit of that off again. Right, so I'm just sort of getting down a bit of a base at the moment. And I think we'll go with Violet Chalk. I've actually got one of the big Lavinia brushes for this one. Sorry, I keep getting you out of shot. Again, take a fair bit off. These brushes are so much nicer than everything else. If you haven't got any of these, I thoroughly recommend them. Alright, so that's sort of a very quick base. What I'm going to do is just spend a bit of time and just get a bit more depth of colour into here. There's another bit of rubbish paper there. So right now you can see I've built up the layers of colour, and I'm just going to let that dry for a bit, and then maybe do some water splats on it. Just pop all my stuff away. Okay, so have a few water splats. Right, see how that comes out. As you can guess, I'm doing this in real time, so it's an experiment as we go. Just leave that to dry for a few minutes. So I've got to this stage with the background, and I've sprinkled water, etc. I thought it would be rather nice to do some splatters with some mica powders, and I've got this little purple one here. Just pop that down here. Do a small mix of that. Don't need very much at all of this. A little bit of water. Look how luscious that is. Lovely. Right, before I make a complete mess of this, I'm just going to take off the big splats. Just do a few small ones around the edges. Right, I think that'll do. Maybe a few more up here. And I'll just let that dry again. So everything's ready. As you can see, I've just popped it onto a bit of paper just to get a bit of give there. I'm going to start with Zemira and Twilight in the VersaFine. I thought I'd start with her first because of the little orb. I really want her to be more or less holding the orb, and I don't want to misplace anything. So let's see if we can just give her plenty of ink. I might just take that off. It shouldn't affect it, but you never know. And let's take the bulk of that off anyway. Let's pop her down. Just where she's holding that. Oh, about there, I think. And just give that a bit of pressure, just give it time to soak in. Oh, lovely. There she is. Right, let's take her off then. And we're moving on to Face, again in the twilight. Plenty of ink. And I think just pop her there. Super duper. That's not looking too bad at all. Now this little white bit in the middle I think might be just a tad too white, so I think I might just come back in with a little bit of pink. And the pink I had, I think I'll just come in with a little bit of saltwater taffy on the Oxide. And that's the wrong brush for that. It's one of these. Just to take that down a little bit. It's just a little bit too white. Okay, let's go with that. I don't particularly like these little marks here, but I've already done it, so let me see if I can get a little brush. Perhaps a little teeny tiny bit of water, just so that I can smooth that out a bit. That's it. Well done. So, right, now these guys are in here, I can start to do some bits around the edges. I've got my dragon tree root, and I'm going to pop it, around the bottom here. So let's go with the midnight, twilight even. I'm keeping it all in the same colour. It's a beautiful stamp, this one. So straight over the top of the mirror as well. Doesn't matter because she's meant to be standing behind it anyway. And then again down in this bottom right hand corner. That's the beauty of this stamp. It goes both ways. It's brilliant. I'll just put that into there. If I've got any little bits that are around the edges like this, I will just fill in some ink around the edge in a minute, or trim it down. It's the other option that we have. There, see, I've missed a bit there, but it doesn't matter because we can fill that in with all sorts in a minute. Now around the top here, this is where I thought I'd bring in the Tree of Dreams and a block. So I'm not going to use the whole tree. I'm just going to use bits and pieces. I'm just going to pop that extra bit of paper there because I'm going to be coming off the page this time. And I'm sticking to the twilight in the VersaFine there. So I'm just going to ink that up. I'm not quite sure exactly where I'm going yet, but sort of in that direction. So it definitely wants some twiggy bit. Oh, there's good, because I just dropped it down. That's the real world, everyone, isn't it? Things like that happen. There we are. Again, missed a few bits, but you know, doesn't matter. It's going to be all filled in later. We'll fill it out. We'll colour it. We'll put a few leaves in there, things like that. And it's great because there's loads of twigs on this one, and it's you don't have to use the whole tree as a whole tree. You can just use the bits and pieces around the twiggy bits, like we're doing here. Again, see, that's not worked very well. Let me just leave that bit of paper there. What I might do with that one, because that is a bit of a glaring gap, is just take up again, just do a tiny bit more. There, see if that, just fill it in. Dear, now look what I've done that. Never mind, we'll find something else to cover that over with. Oh dear. Right, let me just take some of that edge off, because that is probably going to do that again if I'm not careful. Right, little twiggy twigs there. And I think I might just leave that little gap there. That'll be spectacular. Fabulous. So we've got this far. I'm just going to ground Zemira. I'm going to come in with a little bit of the Bermuda, just to bring a tinsy tiny little bit of green into it, because I want to put a few bits of green in and around the edges of the trees up here. So what I've done is I've got my little torn paper. If you've got little masks, you can use those, obviously. And I'm just going to ground her here. Let's have a look. Yeah, maybe come down a bit more. A just felt it would bring in that green, but not too much green. And then I might just do a few little hills and things over here. That would be rather nice. Let's have a look. Perhaps just run a bit of a horizon across here. Very gentle, very gentle. I want them in the background, don't really want them in the foreground. So anything further away, you want to do a little bit of a lighter colour. And it just gives the illusion that things are more into the distance. And let's come this way a bit. A little tiny bit more there. Excellent. And then I think I'll just pop a few little hilly bits around, just so that we can put some little bits of greenery and things on. Got the little rats to go and some mushrooms, and just give the impression of a little bit of grass. Sorry, that's the dog and the postman. Right, postman's gone. So yeah, I'm just doing a few little tufts of grass, basically, a bit of greenery, just the illusion of a little bit of something there. Just pulling it up like that, just make it look a bit grassy. Excellent. So it doesn't look overly exciting at the moment, but we'll get something on there. Now the other thing I wanted to do with this little bit here, I'm going to do a moon mask, I think, around that, so it's sort of round, and so I'm back to the Twilight in the VersaFine. So I've had to think what I could do to cover that over with, and that's was my best option. So it's quite a dark circle around there, but it doesn't blend in completely, but it will sort of add a slight illusion of a moon in the background. Just clean that off a moment. I might come back to doing that in a minute with a slightly different colour around it. So, right, I've got this far. Time to, yes, have a little clean up before I mess everything else up. And wipe my hands. And I'm going to have a look at some of these little bits and bobs, little stamps that I took out earlier. Let me have a look. I think that might be a bit big, the wildflower. Although if I did it faded in the background, it might be okay. Right, okay, we'll go with that. Just grab a bit of paper and cut, and just so that I can mask the tree root. We will go with a nice pale Della blue, I think. Yeah, really made that quite messy. Let me just stamp that off and see what happens with that. No, that's quite nice if we stamp off. Right. So, stamp off. And then pop that onto there. And it hasn't come out very well at all. Okay, maybe we don't need to stamp off. Let's try it again. So this is what card making is all about. I could sit here and do this and practice and practice and practice and then just show you the end result, but sometimes it's nice just to have a bit of, yeah, that's better, a bit of insight into how things actually do pan out. Oh yeah, that looks quite nice now. I'm quite pleased with that. I've done that. And I think we'll have another one down here. So you're never going to get a really crisp image with a stamp like this and a dye ink. So if you really want a crisp image, you're going to need your VersaFines. But we don't really want a crisp image. I just wanted that lovely look there that we've got. I think I need one more here. Twos, things always look better in twos or threes. In threes rather than twos. Do I need one there? Let's stick one there. If I don't like it, I'll put another one somewhere else. Right, that's okay for the moment then. Right, let's clear that off. So I've got that going. Lovely. And then I went with the quirky mushrooms. So let's find a stamp block for those. Now then, let's have a look. Again, I'm going to use my little scrap, I think. Yeah, let's get them into there. Now, what colour am I going to go with those? Keeping it all in the purpley themes. I've got an older VersaFine Imperial Purple. I think I'm going to go with that one. There we go. Lovely. Let's stand them up a bit higher this side. Brilliant. Coming together nicely. I think that up and I don't really think I want it. Okay, let's just lose that off there then. And I would like to place my Mr. Rat somewhere now. Let's have a look what we're going to do with these little guys. Oh, excellent. He's rather nice, that one. And I think with him, what colour should I go with him? I think we've got to come back to the midnight. Oh, it's not midnight, it's twilight, sorry. Just trying to keep it all the same. Pop him down here. Oh, excellent. And do I need another Mr. Rat? Trouble is on these, only criticism on this set, they're all facing the same way. Be nice if one was going back the other way. Let's just pop this little guy, I think. Stick him on there. Lovely. Do I want another one of him? Tell me, people, do I want another one of him? Or do I want the other rat? This little guy. Three blind mice, or rats as we say. There we go. just going to pop him. There's nowhere to put him actually. Stick him here. Yeah, obviously not the best decision, that one. But as I said earlier, this is all about live, how it works, what happens. Sometimes you just have to go with the flow. Right. So have a little tidy up on my craft desk and then I'll come back to you. I'm going to start adding a bit of leaf now. So I've got my little mini stamp and I've got the forest leaves, and I thought that looked quite nice on there, so I've mounted that up, and I'm going to come back to my Bermuda because I'm bringing in this colour from down the bottom here. So I'm just going to do a little bit of stamping all over. Let me just check if I need to stamp off. I mean, it's quite faded, so I think I will just go with it as it is. So I'm just going to dot these about in amongst the canopy. Yes, I think that's lovely. Just to add a little bit more interest. It'll just take a little while to do this. Okay, so I think that's enough of those. Just my little wet wipe, clean this little stamp off here. And then I'm going to come into down the bottom here. And I've actually got my vine set, this one. And I think I'm going to use the vine leaf. And I've already mounted that up on the block with the same colouring again. So back into the Bermuda and just try and fill up a little bit more around here. I think that's enough of that one again. Okay, let's just clean that off. Helps if you clean the right side. Oh dear, one of those days. Right, and I've got the flower, and I'm wondering about just popping a couple of these little flowers around. I think I'll do that, but I think I want a VersaFine for that. So because I've got the dark blue going on there, how about I've got Warm Breeze. Let's go with the Warm Breeze and see what happens. Let's just stamp off, and then the second impression is, I think I'll try second impression for the moment. If it is not right enough, I can always come back to. Yeah, it isn't. I need to do the first impression. Otherwise there's no point having the flower there. And I'm just going to go straight over the top of that because it's pretty much faded in the background, that other one. That's a lot better. Oh, now I've started. It just makes sense to go further up. Perhaps another one there, off the page. Actually, that's better. I do believe. Right. There we go, that's that. Time to put some colour into the actual tangles. So I've got a grey pencil, any kind of grey will do. And I've got a purple pencil and almost like a periwinkle, I presume. What does it say? It says ultramarine, but we'll see how we go. Definitely want the grey in there. So I'm just going to quickly fill in some of the roots. So this bit that's a bit missing, I'm just going to make it up as I go and just do a few little roots there. And quite frankly, you don't need to be 100% inside the lines with this. You could just, because it's all tangled anyway, you can just sort of, I wouldn't say make it up as you go, but make it up as you go. Perhaps do a little bit of purple in the gaps. The reason I stamped those first and then did this was I wasn't 100% sure if that ink would stamp over the pencils, so that's why I did it that way. Right, coming over to this side, same thing again. Just, oh, I missed a bit there. A bit of tangled root. And I liked this route because you can put your own little embellishments on it. So there's a lovely other one there that has, I think it's called the River Tree route. It's got the lovely little orbs on it. And I really sort of couldn't make up my mind about that. Or this one. I think I've got the forest one and the tangled root. Because I thought, well, you can put your own orbs on. As lovely as they are, if your budget doesn't allow for you to buy the whole collection, you know, and you can only afford to buy a few, then, you know, choose the ones that work for you. And for me, I felt this had a bit more flexibility. And just cut it in a little bit like that. And do I need a bit more over this side? And I think what I might do is just pick out a few bits and bobs with the blue. Not too much. In fact, let's come back to a bit more grey there. Just so that it's a bit fuller. So just keep colouring until you're happy. Okay, so I think that's enough of that. Next thing, what should we do next? We will have a look, I think, at Zemira, and I need my white gel pen perhaps for Zemira, which is here. And I've got a yellow one as well. I might have a look at that. I'll come back to you. So I decided before I do Zemira, I'm actually going to stamp my little tree hives, which I've got here. Let's just mount them up. So I'm going to just do a little bit more stamping first. And just in order to keep it all in a theme, I'm just going to come in with the Twilight. Let's take that a little bit off there. There we go. One. And then a couple of the smaller ones, I think. There we go, so we've got our little tree hives in there. And then the other things that I had that I decided I wanted to stamp were the lamps. So I think that would be quite nice. A couple of those. Let me just find a block. hopefully. And then the one that goes the other way. There, fabulous. So I've popped them onto a little bit of the Bermuda colour that I used earlier, so they're grounded already. Okay, with Zemira, I've got a jelly roll, and it's this particular colour is like a silver. Yep, so I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to start doing her hair and her robes. I'm going to go into the moon now, just on the edge of that. Then the hives. And now I'm going to go on to Faith. So with Faith, I'm going to use the water brush as well. So you can move this jelly roll if you use water on it. I'm going to start with you need to do it while it's quite wet. So there's my little water brush, and I'm just going to water up the end as well. You just colour it in a little bit here, and then you can actually spread it across like this. It just gives you a very light dusting, and I don't know if you can see that, but can you see that? Yes, you can. It just spreads it out, so you haven't got that really intense colour, but it's still enough to sparkle. And also we can do this on Faith because she's stamped with VersaFine, so she's not going to smudge or run. There we go, that's her done. It's fabulous. Right. Oh yes, just do these little lanterns. Right, we haven't done the orb yet either, so that's the next thing to have a look at. I'm just going to take the yeah, what we used to cover it over with. That stuff off. The masking fluid, that's the one. Right. Okay. So that's off of there. And I am coming back to my gel pens, and this one I have some sort of pink there. Let me just, oh no, it's purple. I'll start with a pinker one. Let me have a look what else I've got. It's like a cranberry. Oops. Yes, I think I'll go with that one. Very gently going to outline. Oh, so I've started with the purple. Oh, crikey. I need a new brain. I need a new brain. Right, here we go. Let's see if I can just pull some of that colour in. I've pulled some in. I might just come back and do a bit more. I don't want to wet the paper too much. I know it's Lavinia water card, but it will start to pill if I do too much on there. I think that's working quite well. I'll just let that bit dry for the moment and then come back to it. I do want to do a little bit of white highlights. Just check that keeps running. Stopped running for the moment. I'm going to try my other pen. I've got another one of these. One is far better than the other, and I've obviously picked up the one that's not so good. No, that's back to my original one because the other one still wasn't very good. So anyway, I'm just doing these few little highlights with white as I go round. So I'm not very impressed with my white pens today. So I'm going to come back to my nice silver one. That's far better. I will get in a moment. I've got some Poscas and some acrylic pens, so I will just have a go with those. Obviously my gel pens do not want to play ball. Right, here we go then. So I've got a little acrylic pen here. Just check that's running okay. That's fine. Now we're going to come back into these little areas here. That's far better. And I think I'm just going to come into these flowers now as well. In fact, no, I think I'm going to come in with a pink in those. I've got a little pink pen here. And these are basically similar to Poscas. They're just a smaller version. And I've just picked these up at not Home Bargains. Where did I get these from? Like TK Maxx. Sometimes do art stuff in the UK. Oops. Well, still wasn't running very well, that. There we go. I will do some white as well, I think. I will get rid of that piece of paper. Cool. Right, here we go. There, I don't know whether to do this in pink or white. Let's go pink, and what I can do is highlight with white. I think the pink looks nice actually. Well, it's sort of a lavendery more than pink. Still not flowing the best at the moment. Let's just run some of it out and keep picking it up. That's what I keep doing at the moment. It's a good job that it's not very detailed work. So I think Poscas on the whole are better, everyone. Right, so I'm just going to let that dry for a second before I go in with the white. I don't want to splodge and smudge. As I said, I think probably Poscas are better, but you know, you use what you've got, don't you? Well, I think that's looking really quite nice at the moment. I'll just get rid of this and come back to you. So I'm ready to do some little finishing off touches now. So my little orb, I decided was not pink enough, so I've tried to pink that up a bit by using my jelly roll. And what I do with that is just to colour a little bit of the pen onto my craft mat, like so, and then just a little bit of water with your paintbrush and pick up some of the colour and then into the little orb. And it just pinks it up just a tiny bit more. So that's fine. I'm just going to let that dry off a minute while I carry on with other bits and pieces. Just lose that a minute. So around the edges of the card, right, let's remove that out of the way. I'm going to put some Bermuda. Just get my little brush and card like that. So I'm just going to finish it off like so. Now this will be very, very subtle, because what I'm then going to do, I'm going to pull this in a fair way, and then I'm going to go around with some violet chalk on the outer edges. So that's Bermuda finished, and then we'll come in with the violet chalk, see what happens with that. Just to darken down the edges. So I'm quite happy with that now. So it's just really a matter of a few more little highlights and things. I've got some pan pastels, which I'm just going to have a look at doing some little lights and things in my little lanterns and my little hives. And I've got a really tiny little stick here. Just pick up a tiniest little bit of colour. So I don't want any more on that. I'm just going to come outside of the lanterns just to add that little glow. And then I've got some white pan pastel, and what I would like to do is just add a little tiny bit around my moon just to create that little halo effect. And I'm just going to use my finger there to finish that off. Perhaps a little bit more around the lanterns, and then my flowers down here. I've got a little bit around my little my little globe there. Pop a tiny bit around there. Just picked up a little bit of the yellow as well, and that, you know what, that looks quite nice, I think. Just finishes that off nicely. So there we are. That is Zemira and Faith. I'm going to mount her up onto a card, and I hope you liked that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again another time. Bye now.